Yeah, you are.
All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushai, by
Yep.
Hashem, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who will and teach well that sacrifice their life, push this truth, and also the hopeful elect that confuses the faces around every corner of the earth. We also sacrifice to push this truth, man. A lot of things are happening in the world. Again, we're coming back at you. I'm with the elder of my camp, Jeremiah, all right, GMS Toronto, and I have Shamia from the GMS Baltimore camp. And we're going in today on Esau's sacrifices are worthless, all right, because Esau is coming back to his time, we're getting back to the Halloween, the satanic holiday Halloween, where he's going to start to do sacrifices. Now,
Uh,
sacrifices have always been around from the beginning of time. All right, you have peace offering sacrifices. We also had sacrifices for sins. Now Esau's trying to send up sacrifices, all right, to their gods, to appease them so he can keep his rulership. All right, but there's only one true living power that exists. All right, and he doesn't require sacrifices of babies. All right, sacrifices of all these animals because he wants only Israel to live in righteousness, and he only accepts Israel's peace offerings of sacrifice and willing sacrifices. Man, you Edomites are taking our tradition and trying to make it your own, man. Thinking you're gonna keep on prospering through your wicked ways, man. Even your sacrifices are straight demonic and wicked.
Hey,
Okay.
since you're talking about it, I got the book. Just a quick point to bring out. It's called Fossilized Customs, right? By Lou White. All right, it's the ninth edition. It's a good book. You should check it out. This dude even has on the back, if you can see, the Lashuan Kodash alphabet. So
oh wow.
he deals with he knows some things, but he does, he goes off, but it's pretty good. And this is on page 47 on about Halloween because you're going into it, right? The spirit. So it says, I'm just go straight to the point. It says gifts, especially food, were left outside for these roaming ghosts. And the word ghost, when you look up, it means spirit, you know. And also a lot of times, like if you go into Walmart for the kids, they'll have the banners and the masks and all that shit, and they'll have a big thing that says have a ghoul of a time. When you look up that
God.
word ghoul, it means demon, right? And I think even the word mask. Um, one second, if I could look it up on Edom Online, because I looked it up
I'll
a
get
couple of years ago. Yeah, I got the word mask.
right. Con.
It's from Old French, covering to hide or guard the face. From Italian, masks, specter, nightmare. Right. Um, and again, what does the word nightmare mean? It means night terror. So basically, you're just being a damn demon, on these nights. And Jake in the world, you already know what the hell Jake does, man. Jake puts on the mask and he goes, you know, eating someone else's food, right? Because I did that in the world, and other men did that, and it's demonic as hell. Because you get in that
God.
whole vibe, you get in the spirit, man. You
It's
become a
a hot.
you become a different person.
Con, yeah, you do. You literally. And a lot of robberies happen around that time of year from
Mhm.
here on up to past New Year's. But me as a kid growing up with a so-called cursed day of Halloween, like being so-called born on Halloween, I was raised in that wickedness of that holiday, man. And then once I got older and found out the truth, I was like, I was sacrificing in wickedness, man, following a goddamn pagan tradition, man.
That's right.
Yep,
And I got I
that's right.
got priest I got precept to begin off where Cain made a dishonorable sacrifice. Leading up to now where Esau, with his his holidays that he pushed his time of the year to get people in that spirit during that time, so that they can make a wicked sacrifice to Satan, pretty much, and not to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But it's Genesis 4:1. I'm gonna just read it straight through, get to the point. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai, and Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof and the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
Yeah, and that's
You got
sin.
it.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's that dishonorable sacrifice, right? And Esau's still doing that till this day. It's not maybe not being in the form of vegetables or fruits, but it's in the form of what? Children, right? Um, women, abominable animals. You know, that's those are the things that he's trying to offer up to the Most High and all these deities, or so-called God, these idols, just to somehow get approval. Because Esau
uh,
knows that the Most High is not for him, man. Right? Esau knows,
Right. Yep. There's a little bit
right?
more in the
So
word.
yeah, go ahead.
When you look up mask, it says it goes back to to Old French masquerade, to black, right, or to darken, right, to blacken or darken, um, derived from Old Occitan masco, meaning witch. So
Mm,
them
uh,
demonic masks, man, it's nothing but rebellion. And what does the Lord say? Rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft, right, in the book of Samuel, right?
right.
And it says, yeah, witch. So I got a little bit more in the book, right? It says the Druids chose certain children to be burned alive on bonfires as offerings, right, to to the sun. Parents tied yellow ribbons around oak trees as prayers to the sun to have their children spared. It says the fat left over from the child was fashioned into a candle and placed into a carved out pumpkin or a hollowed out vegetable with a round sun shaped design. The victim was called Jack of the Lantern, right? And you see, you got them demonic ass pumpkin people, man. You know, a damn child's fat, as a candle, man. You know,
uh,
That
yeah.
shows you, man. That's why all these evil shit happens around that time, man. Most I lets evil angels loose on that shit because it goes back to something very abominable. Kids were getting morphed into freaking, their bodies were getting, after they got burnt, into pumpkins and candles. And what do they do now? They get a pumpkin and they put a candle in the middle of the blasted pumpkin, man. Show you that nothing here is new. They just,
They do that shit in school, man, and even in Catholic
uh,
school, because I went to Catholic school, and you carved up pumpkins, man. The
you
hell?
hey,
know,
you got churches here in the city where they'll give kids Halloween at the church. Kids
and
will
see,
wear
that's
their
wicked.
costumes to church. Yeah, yeah, yep.
It's wicked, man. But it just shows you this
And
world doesn't know what's going on, man.
Con, it says prisoners and like people were burned alive in wicker cages shaped in the form of animals hung from trees. All of this was ultimately to pay homage to the sun Woden or Odin, right? And this is dealing with the Druids. And that was it on that.
Uh,
Right. And what does modern day society do? And so you got your Sunday, right? It's
yeah,
considered the rest day. So it shows you that they're still doing that. They're still doing sacrifices, Bohemian Grove, right? And other parts of the world where they do these sacrifices, they kidnap children, and for some reason nobody can find them. Why do you think that? It's because the government are behind all these children and women missing and these men, man. I have a quick precept. Back it up. You brothers can break it down. Jeremiah 32:35. And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire onto Molech, which I commanded them not, neither came into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin. Right?
that's
So that's what's happening. That's what's happening today,
uh,
right? You
that's
having. Go ahead, Ak.
that's like
Go ahead.
that's like kind of going into those groves.
Yep. Time. Because that's where they build them, right? They're
Yeah,
in a secluded area filled with forests,
right.
right? Lehman Grove specifically is in a forest, locked off. They have a statue of an owl with a big base plate where you can put a body on there. And then what did they do? They burn it. All right. There's videos on people actually being at these places and seeing it go down. And then all of you guys on Drake's ass, and he's the one with the Molech symbol on all of his enterprises, man.
And that place,
OVO.
that place, the Bohemian Grove, is wicked as hell. I was actually watching a thing on it. Someone was speaking about it. They were saying in the Redwood Forest, right? That's where Bohemian Grove is. He
Con,
said there's a spot near the Grove where what do you call it? Like they try to build different properties or different establishments, and they say that shit. Like if they build it on the hill, that shit breaks down, slides down the hill. Like he said, there's spears fucking around there. Like there's all kinds of shit that happens there. You know,
con.
they said it's a wicked ass place, man. And even fuck, man, what was that president? Uh,
Nixon
yeah,
or
it was
Carter?
Nixon. Right?
Nixon.
He said
Okay.
that's one of the most faggoty places you'll ever be.
I think it
Uh,
was. Hold, I'm gonna look it up. I remember
yeah,
somebody saying that.
yeah, because someone was asking, hey, how was it? He's like, so God, it's the most goddamn faggoty thing you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
That was and because he was even in that day, he was a man. Some presidents weren't faggots. And
Yeah,
then they got
yeah.
brought to that, and they said, "What the fuck
Uh,
is this shit?" Because I was even
uh,
Nixon's tapes. That was like the black box of the Oval Office, right in the White House. So that's where the recording came from. You know,
uh.
yeah,
and then
precept.
Slacky, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying you got anybody got a precept?
No, you looked up that thing.
Yeah, I'm. It ain't bringing up nothing. You got to go, Barbara.
Yeah, Con. I'm gonna get this. This is
It was Nixon.
Job 29.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start at verse
My bad. My bad. It says
uh, yeah, go ahead.
uh
Slakia. Yeah, it's okay.
Slack. My bad.
Nah,
I said
I gotta find something juicy.
Yeah, it's from RT, and it says Alex Jones. It said forget about Bilderberg. America hosts its own top secret powwow every summer in the woods of California, and some of the past participants at the all male Bohemian Grove party have included presidents, foreign royalty, and Hollywood elite. It's it says it's 15-day retreat with music, alcohol, plays ritualistic behavior. Says Jones, who released a documentary on Bohemian Grove in 2000. Also says Jones, male prostitutes are shipped in internationally to service the partygoers. Richard Nixon told Harper's Magazine, says Jones, that it is basically a gay meeting.
Mm. But
So yeah, let you. No, you got
Salakia.
it out. No, go ahead.
No, no, but it's just like they use these things thinking that they're gonna get some type of gratitude or they're gonna get some kind of salvation, right? Because what is Esau really looking for when he does these things? A savior, a way out, some type of entity that can somehow give them the power to defeat. They understand that genocide, right?
Yeah,
So to them, they don't care who they gotta sacrifice. Just imagine if you were in their shoes for 2 seconds. If you had the almighty power that hated you for life, right?
God.
It didn't matter what you did. It didn't matter how hard you tried to please or try to be good, but you can't. You're sealed. So what are they gonna do? They don't care who they kill, right? They don't care who gets sacrificed, as long as they remain on top
Right, and they
and they
looking for
somehow can just live their life according to the wickedness.
right.
Salakia.
No, you good. And they looking for pretty much for Jake to be obedient to them instead of Yahweh Shemel Shah.
That's right.
So
And that's
so real quick. No, go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Ak.
No, I was just gonna bring this out real quick.
Yep.
First Samuel 15 and 22. And Samuel said, "Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as
Mm-hmm.
in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams." You know,
Yeah.
so you got it.
No, I was just going to agree with what you're saying.
Oh, Con, I just was going to say, Esau looking for obedience from us, to betray our power, to worship him as if, he's the ultimate. But for us, it's better to obey the Lord than to sacrifice, And it's
Mhm.
better us to obey in his commandments and to go out here and do this work like we did, and Lord willing, the Lord keep the spirit on us, continue to do so, and continue to be making righteous sacrifices.
Alright.
So like my whole when you're saying all of that, my whole thing froze, man.
Oh, shit.
Satan be effing with me, bro. Hey,
Con,
Salakia.
con.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
getting a
still
phone call.
live? Is it still live, though?
Yeah, it's still live. Yeah, everything's live.
Okay, Con, I just was basically saying, Esau is looking for us to, obey him rather than the Lord because, he go and he do these rituals, he get blessings from the left side. And, it's better for us to continue to obey, you know, to be obedient to the Lord, to the laws, rather than putting up an unrighteous sacrifice. Because we could be caught up just like Cain and be making a whole unrighteous sacrifice the whole time we so-called was giving his knowledge. You got a lot of camps out here giving false sacrifices, man, teaching half truths and shit like that, you
Huh?
know?
Right. I have a precept just to back that up real quick. This is Isaiah 17:8, and he shall not look. Salakia. Wrong verse. Isaiah. I just had it and then it cut. My whole stuff is just messing up. This is Isaiah 27:9. All right. It says, "But this therefore shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin. When he maketh all the stones of the altars as chalk stones, they are beaten in sunder. The groves and images shall not stand." And that includes Esau's groves and images, right? You created, you set this stuff up, but it's all for vain. It's all for naught. What did King Solomon said that everything underneath the sun is vanity. You building up all these idols because you can't make an idol and say that idol is better than you. That's your God. It talks about that in Wisdom of Solomon, right? So you guys are really praying to no one. You guys are sacrificing to no one. Because if the Lord ain't looking at you, then who you really get trying to fight from? And that's why you guys are gonna be destroyed. The same power that's giving you your blessing is the same power you're trying to fight. The same power you're trying to go to war with,
Con,
right? You're sacrificing innocent children, getting carnal things, which is gonna be short, which is only a moment. You guys only been only for what 500 years, and look what you've done in 500 years.
more than, yeah, Con. This is the work, more wickedness was accomplished in this brief period than any time before. What it say? This is like a time never been before.
Con, right?
You know, you're on the verge of getting ready to see artificial intelligence, man. Esau wants to create a being with and put a spirit into it, but he can't. He ain't gonna be able to accomplish that. Like that scripture
Yo,
you
and
posted, the scripture you posted on that earlier. I can't remember what it was. You got it though.
no, I was just backing you up because I saw a movie yesterday. Man, I forgot what it was called, man.
It wasn't upgrade, was it?
Oh man, it's on Netflix, but it's basically um they making artificial bodies where they can live for like 300 years, and it's like he was like a Chinese guy, and then he
Well, they have
died.
that in real life. They have that if you YouTube it. They have that. They have centers like that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, kind of. I
Yeah.
seen it. I
God.
seen it.
Esau's tapping
But
in, man. But Esau's
but
trying to
what?
get that spiritual body, man. You
Hey,
know, Esau's trying to. Slack, one sec. I just want to
no,
bring out
no,
a
you good.
point about it's a term for people who want to check it out. It's called transhumanism. You know,
Yeah,
that's his
yeah.
thing. You know, he wants to basically inhabit spiritual bodies. You know.
Like
But
you got to check that movie out real quick. My bad. The movie
go ahead.
Upgrade, right? Upgrade.
Mhm.
A computer system. It's basically about a computer system developed its own intelligence and manipulated its creator. to go find him a body, a host to live in. And he went out
Mm.
and found a couple and killed the wife and uh, uh, start giving the husband visions that he can find his killer, his wife killer. And the whole time it was the computer program creating soldiers to go out and find him and to put that program in him. And then next thing you know, he said, because he said it in the movie, I needed a body, I needed a
Mm.
host to perform his enterprise, basically. And then at the end of the movie, he killed the creator and got more advanced and then walked off.
God.
But that's Esau trying. That's Esau trying to play God. Esau's trying to play. Hey, anyone know where that verse is in Isaiah? Verses that I'll sit upon the north. I shall be like the Most High. Right? Because that's Esau's complex. Esau's trying to develop a way to be immortal, and you
Yeah,
know
we
they
got it.
haven't achieved it yet. You know they haven't achieved it yet because the Rothschilds and all them, they're still in the old decrepit bodies. They would have been the first ones to switch over if all means were possible, right? So there is just a test because the only person that's gonna able to take us out of these bodies and give us eternal life is Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. He still won't be able to achieve that because that's our blessing, not his. All right,
Yeah, I got Isaiah 14 and
you can bring
12.
that out.
It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cast? It's like how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations." Right, and that's plain who that's talking about, really. You know, unless you get bugged out by Lucifer, you know. But you know, it's just verse 13. It says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will
Mhm.
sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
Right.
I
So
will,
that's Esau.
yeah,
Go ahead. So like you finish that.
come on. It says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High."
Right. And how is he trying to be like the most high? Watch everybody's movement, know how you breathe. Hey, I saw in the news today, they're talking about the new iPhone XS and the watch. And they're saying how the watch can monitor your heart rate, your bloodstream, you know,
And that's the miracles, man. And in Revelation
yeah.
16, instead of just being fancy and trying to,
Con.
trying to make you dependent upon Him, you know.
Hey, and what when I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind was the chip, yo,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
that is conditioning you to accept the chip because when they bring in the chip, you're already used to it. The phone's already monitoring your health. So then to them it's just like, okay, well the chip has all of that plus more to them, so they'll take it. So I'm
Hey,
there. Go ahead, Art.
no, I was gonna say, and then the phone, you could put that Apple Pay and all that, and then you probably could
Oh,
convert it to your watch the way as though you could just walk by with your watch. Get people used to that.
God. Yeah, man. These people
it's
been
even worse than
conditioned.
that. It's
You
worse than
people
that.
have been being conditioned since really the 70s and 80s, man, because they've been showing you the chips since those times in the movies.
Yeah,
You know, so
Jetson.
you can already. These
It was
people
in
have
the
been
Jetson.
generations of conditioning
Yeah,
subconsciously. You know.
con.
Con. Because they even have now rings. They have rings now that
Mm.
you can answer, you can pay
What?
through. Yeah, they have rings that literally rings you put on your finger that you can pay with shit. You can answer the phone with it and shit. Like it's on some next level. So it shows you that Esau's changing everything because he understands what do people. He's starting to embed his technology with everyday things people buy and interact with. So it's no longer phones. It's now as if it starts going into shirts, right? It goes into
Yeah,
bags.
last year, I think it was last year, they put RFID chips in certain football players' uniforms. Like you
Yeah,
could
con. I
have
remember that.
access to stats and access into certain arenas and stadiums and shit. And you could buy your season
Con,
pass, and it would be in your jersey.
con.
That was
Yeah,
it on that.
can I read this? Yeah, con.
Yeah.
Let me get this real quick. Um, this is Second Esdras 9. I'll start at 19. And it says, "For then every one obeyed, but now the manners of them which are created in the world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed, and by a law which is unsearchable rid themselves. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it." And what are all the devices? TV, number one. Okay, because that's how Esau's able to go make you get the ooh and the ah. That's how when the new iPhone comes out, well, how does he display it, man? Through advertisement,
Yeah,
propaganda. Get this, get that. Oh, look at the new luxury this and the new car here. And that's the device number one. Now you have the phones. You have all these other gadgets, and the last gadget that he has set up, which is very corrupted, was the RFID chip. And people don't. And there's many people that have it already. There's people who walk around with them in Europe. It's big in Europe, right? It's
Yeah,
big
you
in
have the in Spain, right? You have the Baja Club
con,
you know,
from years ago, man. And to enter that club, you had to have the chip. Even Fat Joe, and he
yep,
was
yep,
leaning back in the
lean
beginning,
back,
right when he walked in the club, he swiped his right hand or left hand, whichever one it was. I think it
con.
was his right hand, and he got in the club. You know.
So here you go, right here.
Hmm.
yeah,
You know,
that's the image right there, man.
we being trained all around us to pretty much, consume.
Yep,
That's right.
because Esau depends on materialistic energies, so to speak, right? He dwells in carnality. That's his power. He can't achieve spirit. He doesn't understand spiritual things. He's not a man
Nah,
to understand spiritual things. And you see Esau all up in the church, and they look dead clapping,
con,
he doesn't understand. He can't. He can't bring you spiritual blessings. So you Jakes out there that are going and selling out to the Freemasons, the Illuminati. You sacrifice because you wicked Jakes. You're sacrificing children too, man. It's not just Esau. You Jakes are doing it too.
yeah,
Look at
women sell off their kids, prostitute their daughters and shit like that, man.
you were breaking out.
Oh no, I was saying, Salaki, women sell off their kids. You know,
Yep.
women are prostitute their daughters, man.
Yeah, there was an article. It said that a woman sold her son just to buy a phone. Just to buy a phone, man.
Kind of got a precept. This Wisdom of Solomon 12:1. It says, "For thine uncorruptible spirit is in all things. Therefore chastenest thou them by little, and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, which were the Canaanites, the different Hamites, the Perizzites, the Hittites, right?
Hmm.
Verse 4, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and
Uh,
wicked sacrifices."
Tell you, man, keeps cutting in and out. It's so annoying, bro. Salakia Akim, like my net is not working with me today. Just keeps cutting
Oh, you
in
want me to
and
read
out.
again?
Yeah, it keeps cutting out. Like I don't know
yeah,
Con,
that
what's
last
going on.
part, was cutting up.
con.
Odious
It says,
works.
con. Verse 4, it says, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices. And
See,
also, yeah, yeah.
let me stop you right there. You see how he said wicked sacrifices? Esau does wicked sacrifices, man. Okay, he does things that are unlawful. You're not so, when you're sacrificing, especially innocent children, that's murder, right? That's what you call murder. You're kidnapping them.
Well,
You're never.
that thing I put up in the chat today, so I seen it on Instagram, where the man was caught with photos of them raping newborn babies, man. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, I seen that.
and shit, you can't even fathom that, man. You know what I mean?
Con,
Like, but you know why? Because then it all stems from the concept, man. Amalekites, because in the Talmud it tells you to sleep with a newborn for to 5 years old is nothing. You know, there's a passage
Con.
that says that in there. You know, because I used to look up a lot of points on the Talmud, and that shit's wicked as a motherfucker, man.
Yeah, I think they said
Wicked.
it's power in taking a young boy's anus or something like that.
Yeah, you had Alistair Crowley. He went into sex magic, right? But it's gonna expound in verse 5, and also those merciless murderers of children. See,
Con.
Ooh,
devourers of man's flesh and the feast of blood. So hold on, what do these elites do today?
damn.
They have a drug called adrenochrome, which is they get the terrified child. They scare them, right, uh to get your adrenal glands, which is to produce hormones, right, like adrenaline, which
Yeah,
goes through the
yeah.
blood and it pumps through the blood, and then they cut that child, and they drink that blood, man.
Con.
And that information is out there, man. And
Yep.
when I seen that shit, I said, "Yo, man, Blade was one of my favorite movies. It looks like I'm living in that shit." You know what I mean? Because they had that movie Hostel too, where a lot of rich people,
Yeah.
they would pay money to torture or do whatever the fuck they want with the prisoner. You
Right.
know, and that's the life we're living, man. And Esau gets that shit from the Hamites, because the Hamites were doing it. You guys want to talk about black conscious shit? This is what the Hamites were doing.
Con.
You know, they
Con.
were killing their own children, man. The Canaanites, a lot of the majority of the gods, they stem from where? The Canaanites and the Cushites, right? Nimrod, Semiramis, Tammuz, right?
Con.
And the various other Canaanite gods, where you get all this Easter from, Halloween, all these different pagan holidays. It all stems from the
Saturnalia.
Hammite. Yeah, Khan.
That's
That's
the
right.
time we coming in on now, right? What a
Yep.
fall solstice
You
or
you
yeah,
have the equinox.
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 Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is basically you have the solstice, which is the longest and shortest day of the year, right? The longest day is in June, because
Yeah.
that's the most amount of daylight, and then you have the winter solstice, which is in December, which is the least amount of daylight, and then
Con.
you have the equinox, which is the day and the night are balanced. But these
Right.
people, they work with that shit. It's just nothing but science to us. It you know what I mean? In the ancient world, we would look at the moon and different constellations, and we would say, okay, now we're in this season, because we didn't have a calendar back then,
Right.
right?
Right.
We didn't have days. We had months, and you had the days of the month, but you had monthly men, like Issachar, basically. Those
Right.
men
Right.
were to deal with that, right? But
Con.
these people, they spin it off into worshiping the gods, and they say, "Oh, on this day we gotta do this sacrifice. We gotta, we need to feed the beast, so to speak." You know.
Con.
Um, there's verse 6. It says, "With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands, souls destitute of help," which is little children, man. You know that the land which thou esteemest above all other, might receive a worthy colony of God's children, right? You see? So the Most High had it where that was really in the spirit. That's where the Garden of Eden was. That's where the Most High dwells, man, in Jerusalem. He tells you that, you know?
Right.
But he had these heathens occupying it till he actually got his colony, he got his men, and we invaded that land. But then even Jake, man, wicked ass Jake, they were killing. Then they said, what? Let's stop killing these guys. Let's make them tributaries. The Lord said, destroy everything, destroy their altars. Why the hell would you want that kind of spirit there, man? Where they were killing children and shit. You know?
Con. Yeah, I just seen a brother did a video in a documentary on Hollywood over in Rome, the actual area, and it's a complete, almost like the same landscape as Hollywood over here in California. And he was going in on how they would like that symbol from one of them production companies with the woman with the arrow
Hmm.
point, but she would they would hunt. They would go over there and make sacrifices into that water. I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna just send it into the group. But he was just going in on how Hollywood, Rome, it's a place called Hollywood, or I can't remember how you pronounce it, but it looks just like the Hollywood Hills, and that landmass over in California, and that's pretty much where Hollywood got his what is called his early beginnings or whatever.
Con. Yep, that was it on that.
Uh,
I had a preset, but I was trying to look up the word Holly. You said Hollywood.
Oh, Hollywood. It goes back to
All right.
Hollywood,
So we won't miss the room. This is your brother
which is
Bye.
which is basically like a witch's one, hollow wood. You know,
Hollows Wood, yep.
yeah, that's a demonic ass. That's run by Khazars, man. You know.
I have a
Yeah,
precept real
I
quick.
think
This
I
is
found it.
Psalms 10 and 11. He has said in his heart, the Most High Yahweh hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. See? So these Edomites, man, think that the Most High just doesn't care about Israel anymore. He don't care about this planet. It's whatever. They'll just continue doing whatever they got to do. The Most High is not seeing their wickedness, but the Most High has you figured out, right? He has angels documenting everything that you do, right? There is no escaping. There is no fronting. You might be able to trick the masses, but you're not tricking us. What did it say? Unless Satan shall get the advantage of us, man. We're not ignorant of his devices. You can't trick us. We see you loud and clear. We understand when we see people go missing and it's not solved, and not you don't care because have you ever seen when there's a mass population of children missing? It's not like they say they're
Hey,
investigating. They
they
go, oh,
they
what's
say
this?
In America alone, there's over 800,000 kids a year that go missing.
Eight hundred
Damn,
thousand.
god damn. Hey, and this is a
Oh
hot
my!
time of the year from now all the way
Yep.
up, you know, where they go missing.
That's right.
All the way
And
up.
you have, and during the so-called Khazars Passover, man, the Amalekites, they have some other shit that they do as well. Like there's a documentary, not a documentary, it's a radio interview between a so-called rabbi and a Christian pastor, and the rabbi was telling them everything, how they kill little children the whole week of their Passover, and they drain their blood and they put it in the bread, and then they grind up the meat and they sell it to McDonald's and shit and different outlets. You know what I mean? These people are, man. This is why it says in Ephesians 6, wickedness in high places, man. These are the people in the
Yeah,
high
man.
places, right? These are the people that, with the snap of a finger, they can have literally almost anything they want, right? I got a
Most wicked.
precept because you said mentioned that scripture um, uh, in Corinthians, right, about the devices, Satan's devices, right? But I got Matthew 24 and 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. You know, and that's how powerful their works are going to be, because these are witches, man. You know,
Yeah, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with people that actually use spiritual forces to gain what they. That's what the world. That's why these mass population of people are dumb, man. People don't understand. You're over there tucking and driving, man. All right, driving the special school bus. All right, you're on a special school bus, and these guys are out here literally doing the things that you couldn't think possible just to hold their power. Right? They're bringing and asking these spirits to give them advanced technology, man, which is really from Yahweh Shem Shai. Give it. Why do you think they're able to make phones, laptop, TVs in less than 100 years? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
They made all types of technology that shouldn't have been made so fast.
Touch screens.
Touch screens, right? You have phones that you hold a button, you speak to it, and it does commands without you even having to touch it.
Yeah.
Like
You got projection TVs.
you have self-driving cars,
Yeah.
right? These are those wonders. Like whoa, what? Like
Shit,
how?
Bluetooth
Yeah,
Bluetooth technology.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
right?
thing called Project Bluebeam, where they can
Yeah,
put a
yeah,
hologram of something for somebody.
Yeah,
yeah.
and Kanye West used it. Ka- Kanye West was one of the perfect examples of that crap because he projected himself around cities in America when he released one of his albums were singles, and it was just his head though, but he was appearing on the walls and all that crazy madness, man. I remember seeing that. So Esau has technology that's beyond, and then they have the what, uh, 4D. That's what they call it in
Five
Japan,
G or
where
4G. Oh,
no, it's like 4D. It's like something that has to do with the blue beam,
oh yeah,
and they
yeah.
have it
Instead
all.
of
Oh
3D, it's
yeah,
like 4D.
yeah, kind,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's not 3D,
Yeah,
4D. I think you can.
4D.
I think you're almost like feeling it, and you can smell certain things, and
yeah,
it's
Yeah,
like you're
yep.
almost there. It's like you're there, basically. You know?
got it.
Right,
And that's only
right.
if you get it for the Matrix. So that's Matrix talks they're
Hey,
saying to you.
they already got that shit, man. The visors, man. People are already
Yeah,
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
around.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I seen a place like that open up in there's a mall here, Von Mills, and there's a whole fucking new thing, and it's like they got
The
it's like a it's like a circular seat, and then it just comes over you. You know, it's like a fucking pod, man. That's what it looks like. You know, people there. Oh my god, like basically they're what is a wander to wonder at? You're like, oh my god, you're wandering. Like, what the hell is that? That's what it
yeah.
means when
Con,
you read in
No,
Matthews, right? People
they
are
got
like, holy
amusement.
shit.
They got amusement park rides where you're actually not moving. You're sitting in a seat and it may tilt, it may move to the side or rise
Yeah,
up, but you're
yeah,
looking at a projection screen and it makes you feel like you're actually moving through the ride. Like they had this was years ago. I was a teenager and they had a ride called Days of Thunder in King's Dominion, and it felt like you was actually racing a NASCAR. You could smell the brakes, like you say, you could smell the brake smoke. You could smell the like the fumes of the gas and shit like that. So it make you feel like you're really there.
yeah.
I got a precept. This is Isaiah 30:27. It says the instruments also of the troll are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. See? So Esau has all these devices for the poor man to entertain you, suck you, draw you in. And ultimately, these are all here just to bring you back into servitude. All of these things that you take carefully, that you so-called enjoy, he's just using that as a stepping stone to land you back into slavery with that RFID chip. Because as soon as he gets that RFID chip in you, I'm telling you, you're not gonna enjoy life as bad as you hate life now. Life is gonna suck even worse when you take that chip. You're gonna be locked off. Your money's gonna be controlled. Yo, he's gonna be able to control your emotions. He's gonna be able to. Some of these chips have the ability to kill you instantly, man. That's a very dangerous thing to have. If Esau was able to get the whole world chip, he wouldn't even care about a law. What's a law anymore? Just shut that shit off, man. Kill whoever he felt like it. Who's gonna talk to him, man?
Well, that's what Thing said, man. Rockefeller to forget the guy's name. They killed him off though, but there was an interview with him on YouTube, right, where he was just spilling the beans, man. He's just saying, "Look, man, we're gonna chip everybody. We're gonna have an event. This is pre 9/11. We're gonna have an event that's gonna lead us into the Middle East, and we're gonna have this um, imaginary war against imaginary terrorists and caves and deserts and shit." And he said, "We're
Shit.
gonna chip everybody." You know, and he said, if you say anything or you rebel or whatever, we'll just turn off your chip.
See? There you
That's a
go.
Rockefeller shit too, man.
Oh, you talking about the interview he gave to the movie producer?
Yeah, I forget the guy's name though.
Yeah, I know you talking about. He made the Eddie Murphy movie,
Well, he was a
Trading
big guy.
Places.
He was a big guy in the business, and he got to be friends with the Rockefeller, with one of the
Yeah,
Rockefellers. Oh
Yeah, that was it.
yeah. His name
yeah,
is Aaron Russo.
yeah. I just looked con.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
come on.
I just looked
So he was like asking,
con.
like, you got all the money and power in the world. Why do you need to chip everyone? What do you need all this for?
That's
Uh,
right.
I have another precept if no one has anything.
Come
This is Wisdom of Solomon 11 and 15 says, "But for the foolish devices of their wickedness, wherewith being deceived, they worship serpent void of reason." Now, who's the modern day serpent? Esau, man. All right.
Con,
It says void of reason. Esau is void of any type of real understanding. This is talking about actual idols that they build up. You can apply this to Esau in himself because he's void of judgment, right? He just wants greed. He wants to have all. He wants to be all powerful. He wants to be able to run the world without anyone trying to fight him. Hey, it's like it's his consciousness, right? Because he knew he robbed the world. He knew that he what he's doing isn't right, and he knows eventually someone's gonna stand up to him, which is gonna be Yahweh Shemir Shai. But he's trying to prevent anybody from stealing the stuff he stole or rewriting history the way he rewrote history, right? So he's basically trying to protect himself and seal off everyone getting the chance to do what he did, and all together, man. All right. It says, "And vile beasts, thou didst send a multitude of unreasonable beasts upon them for vengeance." But the point I wanted to get out is these people worship these serpents, man. All right, void of reason, and that's gonna. What did it say in Revelations? If them that took the chip and worship the image of the beast, right, which is the system, shall be burned in the lake of fire, man. They were tortured in the lake of fire, man, which is the nuclear missiles. And Esau knows that's coming. Why do you think he has underground bunkers? And all of a sudden he's hiding out and he's making under space stations. They show you that in all these different type of movies, man. Asylum, Geostorm. Where were they all the time? They were out in space or underground. GI Joe shows you that too, man.
con,
Where they had to go into the Arctic Sea. They had a base in the Arctic Sea, right? So Esau's trying to escape in every which way, man. Every which way, and you people are just playing into it. You guys are this generation is so demonic. They don't even care if they're sacrificing children, as long as it's not them. They don't care what type of wickedness they're doing, as long as it's not them. They just want to live their best life, right? Well, the Most
yeah,
High is gonna take away that best life from you very soon, because you guys are getting too high up into your wickedness, man, to the point where even when something is evident, right? There's a banker, I forgot his name. He was talking about how he got invited to one of their parties, and he said the man started crying. He said once it got to the point where we had to start sacrificing children,
Oh,
he
yeah,
said
yeah, yeah.
he said
He
that
was
was
like
it.
Swedish or something.
Yeah, he said that was it. He's like, no, he's, he drew the line. He drew the line right there because he thought about his own daughters. So it shows you that this stuff that's going on in the world is real, man.
con,
It is real. It is happening, and this is nothing new. This has always been around. It's just this time they hit it.
yeah,
They hit it. We can bring up one more scripture and close out.
Kind of had Isaiah, since you mentioned about the Lord's gonna be, well, these people are proud, right? Basically, right? They're above. This Isaiah 2:11, it says, "The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low."
Yeah, and that's pretty much
Yep.
everybody on the planet. Because the only humble people are the hopeful elect doing this work. Those are the only humble people on the planet right now. And Esau is the king and the leader of pride, right? They have their pride months. They have their pride events going on. That LGBTP,
proud
right?
to be American.
Proud to be American, make America great again, man. You know. So these are the things. The Most High is gonna bring that low because you guys actually don't understand the ending result. You guys are so caught up in moments, right? They have songs about be in the moment, be in the moment. Don't worry about the past. Don't think about the future. Be in the moment. You guys don't understand that your future. is gonna be complete other chaos. And it's sad that the world doesn't understand that. You guys think it's funny now, but when you're in that real life situation, right? Look at some of these islands. One of them, the man was driving a Lambo, stuck, couldn't move. The ground gave in, right? Other parts got totally flooded, man, flushed out. You think those guys were expecting to get flooded out on that day? You think they didn't have plans to do whatever they had to do on that day, right? You guys can have all these plans all you want. These elites can have their plan all they want. But Yahweh Shemashah is gonna bring you guys back to where you guys are, man. Base.
Con.
He's gonna show you guys that you guys are just men.
I
You
know
guys
that.
keep playing with the Lord, yo. You guys keep playing with the Lord and it's even crazy that you guys even think you can even fight the Lord. It's crazy. You guys can't even fight old age. You guys can't beat old age. Yeah, you guys are gonna say you're gonna go against an immortal being, an all-powerful being with no weakness. You're crazy. And the laughable part is, the Most High wouldn't even really even need to do anything to you. Just wait until you die. Time itself is against you. Nature itself is against you. Yet man has pride to speak up and say this and say that. Y'all crazy, man. Shalakia. Any y'all can want to say anything?
Hey, walk flop a ball, man.
Yep.
So with that, we're gonna end it and say all praise to Yahweh Shem Yeshai Dash. Double honors the apostle great Malcolm who will and teach well. And salutation again to Yaakov folk on earth. Praises, truth, and charity. Shalom.
Shalom.